Are you prepared for what is about to hit? A massive winter storm is already forming, and it is bringing more than 12 inches of snow to some areas and record-breaking ice accumulations that could leave millions without power for days. This is not a drill. This is happening right now. And here is the critical question nobody is asking yet. Why did the forecast models just shift dramatically in the last 6 hours? What does this mean for your state? Stay with me because at the 30-second mark, I am revealing which 30 states are in the direct path, and the answer might shock you. Time is running out. By tomorrow morning, it will be too late to prepare. The storm system is already spinning up over the southern plains, pulling Arctic air from Canada while simultaneously drawing tropical moisture from the Pacific Ocean. Think about that for a second. Pacific moisture meeting Canadian Arctic air over the heartland of America. This is the recipe for a historic winter event. Here is your first reward for staying with me. Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan are all in the impact zone. 30 states. Over 100 million Americans in the path of this storm. But wait, there is something even more critical happening that the mainstream forecasts are missing. The storm has two distinct energy sources colliding, and when they merge over the Ohio Valley, the intensification rate is going to be explosive. We are talking about a storm that could rival some of the worst winter weather events in the last 20 years. Now, before we dive deeper into each region, I need you to do something important. Drop a comment right now telling me which state and city you are in. Why? Because I am monitoring this storm around the clock, and I want to give you personalized updates as this system evolves. The forecast is changing hour by hour, and your specific location could mean the difference between 6 inches of snow and 18 inches, or between a dusting of ice and 3/4 of an inch that brings down power lines for a week. Let me show you what is happening right now at the atmospheric level, because this explains everything. There are two massive players on the field. The first one, what meteorologists call the Baja Low, is sitting over the southwestern United States. This system is pulling moisture all the way from the Pacific Ocean, almost like a Pineapple Express event, but in the middle of winter. That warm, moist air is surging eastward. The second player is the polar jet stream, diving south from Canada with some of the coldest air on planet Earth right now. We are talking about temperatures in the negative teens to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit across the Dakotas and Minnesota. This Arctic blast is so powerful that single-digit temperatures are going to push all the way down into North Carolina and Georgia by early next week. When these two systems collide, somewhere over Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky, that is where all hell breaks loose. You get the warm air riding up and over the cold air at the surface, and that creates what we call an inversion layer, a warm nose of air sandwiched between cold air below and cold air above. And that, my friends, is how you get freezing rain. Lots of it. Here is a shocking statistic that should wake everyone up. Ice accumulations of just 1/4 of an inch can snap tree branches. 1/2 inch can bring down power lines. 3/4 of an inch to 1 full inch, we are talking catastrophic, widespread, long-duration power outages that could last 7 to 10 days in some areas. And folks, we are forecasting up to 1 inch of ice for parts of 5 states. Let me break this down state by state, starting with the southern plains where this monster is forming right now. Texas, you are first in line. The Panhandle and northwestern sections are going to see this storm arrive late Friday into Saturday. Amarillo, Lubbock, and surrounding areas prepare for 6 to 10 inches of snow with blizzard conditions. Wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour, creating whiteout conditions. Visibility near zero at times. The DFW Metroplex, you are in a tricky spot. This could start as sleet Friday night, transition to freezing rain Saturday morning, and then possibly end as rain by Saturday evening. Ice accumulations around 1/4 inch, maybe up to 1/2 inch in spots north and west of the city. Houston, you stay mostly rain, but temperatures are going to crash behind this system. San Antonio and Austin, expect a brief period of sleet and freezing rain Saturday morning before changing to cold rain. Oklahoma, this one is massive for you. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and everything in between, you are ground zero for significant ice. Starting late Friday night into Saturday, we are talking about sleet accumulations of 1 to 3 inches, with freezing rain on top of that adding another 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. Power outages are highly likely. Travel will be impossible for at least 48 hours. Do not drive unless it is a life-threatening emergency. Stock up on batteries, flashlights, and non-perishable food today. Kansas, you are getting hammered with snow. Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City, on the Kansas side, expect 8 to 14 inches of snow starting Friday afternoon and continuing through Saturday night. The snow is going to be heavy and wet initially, then transition to lighter, fluffier snow as the cold air deepens. This is snow that will stick to everything: trees, power lines, road surfaces. Even after the snow stops, temperatures are going to stay below freezing for days, so nothing melts. Missouri, you are split. Northern Missouri, including St. Louis, Columbia, and areas along I-70, you are looking at 8 to 12 inches of snow. St. Louis specifically could see 10 to 15 inches with this one. Southern Missouri, Springfield, Joplin, and areas near the Arkansas border, you are in the ice zone. Sleet and freezing rain are going to dominate Saturday into Sunday. Ice accumulations up to 1/2 inch with higher amounts possible in isolated areas. Arkansas, brace yourself. This could be the worst ice storm your state has seen in 15 years. Little Rock, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Jonesboro, all of you are looking at significant icing. We are forecasting ice accumulations of 1/2 inch to potentially 3/4 of an inch in the hardest hit areas. The combination of sleet and freezing rain is going to make roads completely impassable. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not need to travel Saturday night through Monday, do not travel. The risk is too high. Louisiana, you are not escaping this either. Northern Louisiana, including Shreveport and Monroe, expect a prolonged period of freezing rain Saturday into Sunday morning. Ice accumulations of 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Even areas as far south as Alexandria could see some icing. Southern Louisiana and New Orleans, you stay mostly rain, but it is going to be cold rain with temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s. Mississippi, the northern half of your state, is in serious trouble. Tupelo, Greenville, Columbus, Meridian, all facing significant ice accumulations. We are talking 1/4 to 1/2 inch, possibly more in elevated areas. The pine forests in your state are particularly vulnerable to ice. When you combine ice with these tall trees, power lines are going to come down. Jackson, you are on the southern edge, but you could still see some sleet mixing in Saturday morning. Alabama, northern Alabama is included in this ice storm. Huntsville, Florence, Decatur expect sleet and freezing rain Saturday into Saturday night. Ice accumulations around 1/4 inch, locally higher. Birmingham sits right on the line between mostly sleet and potential freezing rain. Mobile and southern Alabama, you stay rain but cold rain. Tennessee, this is a big one for you. Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, all of you are getting hit. Western Tennessee, including Memphis, you are looking at heavy sleet and freezing rain Saturday. Ice accumulations of 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Middle Tennessee, Nashville, you could see 2 to 4 inches of sleet with a glaze of ice on top. Eastern Tennessee, Knoxville, and the Tri-Cities area, you transition more towards snow, especially in elevated areas. The Smoky Mountains could pick up 6 to 10 inches of snow out of this. Kentucky, you are right in the crosshairs. Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green, Paducah, all facing significant winter weather. Western Kentucky leans more toward ice, with accumulations of 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Central Kentucky gets a mix of everything: snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Eastern Kentucky and the Appalachian areas, you are going snow heavy, with 6 to 12 inches possible in the higher elevations. Now let me pause here because we just hit minute 5 and I promised you something critical at this mark. Here it is. The models shifted overnight and the shift is significant. The storm track moved approximately 30 miles further north than yesterday as forecast. What does this mean? More ice for the Carolinas and Virginia than previously expected. Less ice for Georgia and Alabama. More snow for Pennsylvania and New York. This is a dynamic situation changing hour by hour. West Virginia, your state is about to get absolutely buried. Charleston, Huntington, Parkersburg, you are looking at 8 to 12 inches of snow. But the mountains, oh, the mountains. The highest peaks in West Virginia could see 18 to 24 inches of snow. We are talking multiple feet of snow in the high country. This is going to be epic for ski resorts, but dangerous for anyone trying to travel through the mountains. Virginia, you are split down the middle. Southwest Virginia, Roanoke, Blacksburg, Bristol, you are in for significant snow and ice. 6 to 10 inches of snow with ice on top in some areas. Central Virginia, Richmond, Charlottesville, you start as snow Saturday morning, potentially picking up 4 to 8 inches before changing to sleet and freezing rain by Saturday evening. Northern Virginia and the D.C. suburbs, you could see 8 to 12 inches of snow before mixing occurs. North Carolina, this forecast has been a roller coaster, but here is where we stand now. The Western Mountains, Boone, Blowing Rock, Banner Elk, you are getting snow. 8 to 12 inches in the highest elevations. The foothills in Piedmont, Charlotte, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh, Durham, this is where the ice threat is highest. Current forecasts show 1 to 3 inches of sleet with up to 1/2 inch of freezing rain on top. There is a scenario, if the European model is correct, where we could see 3/4 of an inch to 1 full inch of ice. That would be catastrophic. Power outages lasting a week or more. The coast, Wilmington, Outer Banks, you stay mostly rain, but very cold rain. South Carolina, upstate South Carolina is in the impact zone. Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, expect sleet and freezing rain Saturday night into Sunday. Ice accumulations around 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Columbia and the Midlands could see some sleet Saturday night. Charleston and the Lowcountry stay rain. Georgia, northeast Georgia, is the bullseye for ice in your state. The mountains near the North Carolina border, areas like Rabun County, Towns County, expect significant icing. 1/2 inch or more is possible. Even the Atlanta metro could see some sleet mixing in late Saturday night, especially north and east of the city. Athens, Gainesville, these areas need to be prepared for ice. Ohio, you are getting snow. Lots of it. Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, Akron, Toledo, all of you are in for a major snowstorm. Southern Ohio gets hit first Saturday morning with 8 to 12 inches expected. Northern Ohio, including Cleveland, you are looking at 10 to 16 inches of snow falling Saturday afternoon through Sunday morning. Lake effect snow could add even more on the backside of this storm Sunday night into Monday for areas near Lake Erie, Pennsylvania. This is your biggest snow of the season so far. Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, you could see 10 to 14 inches. Central Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, State College, 12 to 18 inches. The Pocono Mountains, 18 to 24 inches. Eastern Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia area, you start with snow Saturday morning, potentially 6 to 10 inches, before mixing with sleet and possibly rain Saturday evening. But the damage is done by then in terms of travel. Maryland, Baltimore is looking at 8 to 12 inches of snow Saturday. The western mountains near Deep Creek Lake, you could see a foot to 18 inches. The eastern shore, you get less, maybe 4 to 8 inches before mixing. Delaware, Wilmington, and areas along I-95 expect 6 to 10 inches of snow Saturday before potentially mixing with sleet. Southern Delaware gets less, maybe 3 to 6 inches. New Jersey, you are split. Northwestern New Jersey gets the jackpot, potentially 12 to 18 inches of snow. Central New Jersey along the I-95 corridor, 6 to 10 inches before mixing. The Jersey Shore, you might see some sleet and rain mixing in, reducing totals to 3 to 6 inches. New York, this is where we find the highest totals. New York City, you are looking at 6 to 10 inches Saturday before potentially mixing with sleet. Long Island could see sleet at some point, but upstate New York, this is your storm. Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, all looking at major snow. The Finger Lakes region, the Catskills, the Adirondacks, these are the areas where we could see 2 feet of snow. Yes, 24 inches or more is possible in isolated locations. The snow ratios are going to be fantastic, light and fluffy, perfect powder. Connecticut, you are looking at 8 to 12 inches across most of the state Saturday into Sunday. The coastline might see some sleet mixing in. Inland areas get the higher totals. Rhode Island, Providence expect 8 to 12 inches of snow Saturday. The coast could see some mixing. Massachusetts, Boston, you are looking at 10 to 14 inches of snow. Western Massachusetts, Springfield, the Berkshires, 12 to 18 inches. Worcester could see close to 2 feet. Cape Cod and the islands, you get less, maybe 6 to 10 inches with some mixing. Vermont, this is a big snow for you. Burlington, Montpelier, Rutland, all looking at 12 to 18 inches. The Green Mountains could see up to 2 feet. New Hampshire, similar story. Manchester, Concord expect 12 to 18 inches. The White Mountains, 2 feet or more in spots. Maine, southern Maine, including Portland, 10 to 16 inches. Central and northern Maine, you could see a foot to 18 inches. Down east Maine and the county areas, 8 to 14 inches. Indiana, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, South Bend, all looking at significant snow. Southern Indiana gets hit first Saturday morning with 6 to 10 inches. Northern Indiana, especially near Lake Michigan, could see 10 to 14 inches with lake enhancement. Illinois, Chicago, you are looking at 8 to 14 inches of snow Saturday into Saturday night. Rockford and areas north, possibly more. Springfield and central Illinois, 6 to 10 inches. Southern Illinois could see some mixing with sleet. Michigan, the lower peninsula, is in for a significant snow. Detroit, Grand Rapids, Lansing, all looking at 10 to 16 inches. The upper peninsula adds lake effect snow on top of the system snow. Some areas could approach 2 feet. Now, here is something critical that is not being talked about enough. The cold air behind this storm is going to be brutal. We are talking about wind chills in the negative numbers across much of the Midwest and Northeast Sunday into Monday. When you combine that with potential power outages from ice, this becomes a life-threatening situation for some people. If you lose power and you do not have alternative heat sources, you need to have a plan. Where will you go? Do you have family or friends with power you can stay with? Do not underestimate this. There is another twist to this storm that I need to mention. Thunder snow and thunder ice are both possible. Yes, you heard that right. Thunderstorms producing snow and sleet and freezing rain. This happens when you have strong atmospheric instability combined with very cold temperatures. It is rare, but when it happens, it can produce incredibly heavy precipitation rates. Imagine snow falling at 2 to 3 inches per hour with lightning and thunder, or freezing rain coating everything at a rapid pace with thunder booming. This is most likely Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening for areas from Tennessee up through the Carolinas and into Virginia. Here is another data point that should concern everyone. This storm is moving slowly. That means prolonged impacts. For many areas, winter weather begins late Friday or Saturday and does not end until Monday or even Tuesday morning. We are talking about 48 to 72 hours of continuous snow, sleet, and freezing rain in some locations. That is an incredibly long duration event. And just when you think it is over, the cold locks in. Temperatures are going to struggle to get above freezing for several days after the storm. That means whatever falls is going to stick around. Roads that are snow-covered Saturday are going to stay snow-covered until at least Wednesday or Thursday when we finally get a warm-up. Ice-covered trees and power lines are not shedding their ice anytime soon. This is a multi-day, potentially week-long event in terms of impacts. Now, I mentioned earlier that there is another storm on the radar for next weekend. Here is what I am seeing. Another piece of energy diving south from Canada next Friday and Saturday. It is too early to know exact details, but the pattern is not changing. We stay cold and we stay active. If you are impacted by this weekend storm, you might not have much time to recover before round 2 arrives. Let me give you some preparation advice that goes beyond the standard batteries and water. First, charge every device you own right now. Your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your portable battery packs, everything. If the power goes out, these are going to be your lifelines. Second, fill your bathtub with water. Even if you have water, if the power goes out and you are on a well, you have no water. You can use bathtub water for flushing toilets and washing. Third, move any outdoor furniture, grills, and decorations inside or tie them down. Ice plus wind equals projectiles. Fourth, if you have a generator, test it today. Make sure it works. Make sure you have enough fuel. Fifth, know where your circuit breaker is and how to shut off your main water line. Frozen pipes are going to be a major issue after this storm. Sixth, check on your neighbors, especially elderly neighbors. This is the time to make sure everyone has what they need. For those of you in the heavy snow zones, remember that shoveling snow is one of the leading causes of heart attacks during winter storms. Pace yourself, take breaks. Do not try to move all the snow at once. If you can, use a snowblower. If you must shovel, push the snow rather than lifting it when possible. And if you have any history of heart problems, seriously consider asking for help or hiring someone. For those in the ice zones, stay inside. I cannot emphasize this enough. Ice-covered roads are like skating rinks. Even if you have four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, it does not matter on ice. You cannot steer, you cannot brake effectively. Emergency responders are going to have an incredibly difficult time reaching people who get into accidents. Do not become a statistic. Whatever you need, get it today. Here is the timeline summarized. Friday afternoon and evening, storm begins over Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Friday night into Saturday morning, heavy snow expands across Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, while ice begins over Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Saturday afternoon, the storm reaches the mid-Atlantic and Northeast with heavy snow from Pennsylvania through New York and New England. Ice expands over the Carolinas and Virginia. Saturday night, this is peak intensity for most areas. Heavy snow, heavy ice, dangerous conditions everywhere. Sunday, the storm begins to wind down for the southern areas but continues for the Northeast. Wraparound snow on the backside of the system continues through Sunday night in some areas. Monday, the storm finally exits, but the cold air mass settles in with wind chills well below zero for many areas. Now, let me address something important. Some of you are thinking, is this really going to be as bad as forecasted? Weather forecasters always hype things up, right? Here's the honest truth. This storm has all the ingredients for a historic winter weather event. The cold air, the moisture, the dynamics, everything is coming together. Could the forecast change? Absolutely. Weather forecasting is not perfect. But the trend over the last 72 hours has been toward a stronger, more impactful storm, not a weaker one. The models are in strong agreement, which gives us confidence. This is not hype. This is reality. I want to share something with you that I have learned from covering winter weather for years. People remember the storms they were not prepared for much more than the storms that underdelivered. If this storm ends up being slightly less than forecasted, you are going to be relieved and maybe laugh about over-preparing. But if it ends up being worse than forecasted and you did not prepare, you are going to be in a very difficult situation. Always err on the side of caution with winter storms. Here is a question I want you to think about. What is your plan if the power goes out for 3 days, for 5 days, for a week? Do you have enough food that does not require cooking? Do you have alternative heat? Do you have entertainment for your kids if they are home from school for multiple days? These are the things you should be thinking about right now, not Saturday morning when the sleet is already falling. And this brings me to my final point, the one I want to hammer home. This is not just a storm. This is a dangerous, potentially life-threatening weather event for millions of Americans. We are not just talking about inconvenience. We are talking about people without power in below-zero wind chills. We are talking about impassable roads preventing emergency responders from reaching people who need help. We are talking about elderly people stranded in their homes with no heat. We are talking about carbon monoxide poisoning from people using generators incorrectly. We are talking about heart attacks from shoveling snow. This is serious. So what do I need you to do right now? 3 things. First, comment below with your location so I can give you specific updates. Second, share this video with your friends and family in the affected areas. Information saves lives. Third, prepare today, not tomorrow. Today. Remember those 30 states I mentioned at the beginning? Every single one of them is going to feel this storm's impact. Some with crippling ice, some with feet of snow, all with dangerous cold. This is a storm that is going to be talked about for years. I will be updating constantly over the next 72 hours as this storm unfolds. I will have another update this afternoon, another tonight, and multiple updates throughout the weekend. This is all hands on deck for weather forecasters across the country. We are in this together, and we are going to get through this together. But the best way to get through it is to be prepared. So please take this seriously. Stock up on supplies today, make your plans, check on your loved ones, and above all else, stay safe. The storm is coming. The question is not if, but how bad. And the answer to that depends partly on the weather and partly on how well we prepare. Do not wait until it is too late. Act now. Stay tuned for my next update where I will have even more refined forecasts for specific cities and towns as the high-resolution models come into range. This is just the beginning. We have a long few days ahead. But if we prepare properly and take care of each other, we are going to make it through this. I will see you in the next